We're good to go, Mr.
All right,
Chair.
Mr. Blendy, let's get started.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's Thursday, December the 15th, 2022 docket. Going to announce a few preliminary matters at the outset here. First, there have been some late postponements, so I'm just going to clarify the docket for the public and the board. Item number 1 on the violations, current clubhouse, has been postponed and will be heard at a later date. Moving into the regular items of the docket, item number 9, which is Carini May LLC, has been postponed and will be heard at a later date of the board. Item number 10 on the regular docket, 4537 Harford Road LLC, trading as Wilson's Tavern, has been postponed and will be heard at a later date. Lastly, item number 1 on the regular docket, Hopkins Market LLC, will be moved to the end of the docket or as soon as the community and the applicant can come to an agreement, if that agreement can be come to. If you would like to go and have any conversations, please step out of the room. Mr. Ockhammer is available as well. Otherwise, that will be heard today, but at the end, if you do reach an agreement, please notify us and we can call your case. Is that about it, Mr. Chair?
Yes, let's get started.
All right. Then, the first matter being heard by the board today on the violations docket is Good Neighbor Incorporated, trading as Good Neighbor. Premises are located at 3827 to 33 Falls Road. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. It's charged with 1 violation of the board's rules stemming from an incident on October the 1st, 2022, and that is a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization. Agents Clark and Hahn and myself be witnesses.
Okay. Are you Mr. Chopra?
Yes.
Good morning. So would you all raise your right hands, please?
Is anyone who's going to testify, do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give, the statements made and responses given will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Ms. Chopra, you're charged with 1 violation, live entertainment without authorization on October 1, 2022. Would you like to admit that and explain your situation, or do you want to deny it and have testimony?
Admit and explain.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have our liquor license that was issued by you guys for live entertainment outside. We had it for about 6 months, and we booked a wedding on this day for a musician actually, and so we
You booked it during the time when you had the authorization?
Yes, we booked it during the time we had the authorization, obviously about 4 months before the event actually took place, a week and a half or 2 weeks before the event takes place. Without any warning, we get a letter saying that part of the license is revoked. We were not going to cancel someone's wedding, and someone's wedding specifically who wanted to do it outside in our approved live entertainment space. So we had to go ahead and do the event, and we worked our best to keep the volume and things down in corporation. And since then, we haven't done any events related to this, and we are appealing the revoking of the license, the outdoor part of the license. But
That was a zoning issue, right?
I think so, yes.
Yes, your use permit was revoked, right?
Yes.
So then we issued a new license that didn't contain the live entertainment outdoor.
Yes.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. So Agent Clark, do you want to tell us what your perspective is on this?
Yes, on Saturday, 10/1/22, at 5:20 p.m., Agent Hahn and myself, Agent Clark, arrived at the establishment known as Good Neighbor at 3827-33 Falls Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21211, to a 311 complaint number 2200786-294. The complaint was for disturbing the peace, noise and loud music. Upon arrival, walking up to the door, agents could hear music coming from the outside of the location. Agents observed the DJ operating on the patio. Agents spoke to the manager on duty, and we spoke to Rita Shabazz, making her aware of the complaint. On 9/16/22, a revised license description, which was removing live entertainment, was made per Deputy Executive Secretary Blendy. which was permit number 2022534474.
Actually, Agent, I just really wanted to know
okay.
whether, when you got there, there was a wedding a reception in progress.
Yes, there was a wedding in progress, and there was a DJ booth that was there on the outside of the premises. I handled the inside of the establishment, and our Agent Hahn had noticed the DJ booth that was outside on the patio.
And were they cooperative with you when you arrived?
They were very cooperative, Your Honor.
Okay, okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chopra, on the basis of the materials contained in the the charges, testimony that's received, your admission that there was, in fact, a violation, I find a violation of Rule 4.14, small a, live entertainment without authorization on October 1, 2022. You have no prior violations. You've had the license for a couple of years. I understand your explanation, and it's reasonable. On the other hand, it's still a violation. So as a first offense, I'm going to impose a $200 fine, and I'll give you 30 days to pay it, okay? Commissioners?
Based upon the charging document, the testimony, and the admission, I too find a violation of Rule 4.14A on October 1st, 2022, and concur with the imposition of a $200 fine. I recognize that you're appealing this in another forum, but we have an exhibit, Mr. Chairman, just for the record. I want to make note of it. So there seems to be some concern from the community, and would encourage you to engage with them if you haven't already.
Yeah, we've engaged with the community to receive the license in the first place, and the concern from the community when we have, over a lot of support for what we're doing versus, two people that have expressed, complaints. Obviously, we want to work with those two people.
Have you seen this document? I'm going to give you my copy because we have several, okay? So you can take that with you.
Yes, I've seen this document.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings, a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, and the fine of $200.
Thank you, Mrs. Russell.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of opposition from community. Board Exhibit 2, violation report from Agent Clark. 3, violation report from Inspector Robinson. 4, letter of revocation from Baltimore City Housing. And 5, service request summary dated 10/1/22.
All right, thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee can stop by and see our staff on the way out, who will have an invoice that will contain instructions on how to pay the penalties imposed today and any attendant fees that go along with it. Next matter, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Item number 3 on the violations docket, Sangria LLC trading as Sangria. Premises are located at 930 North Charles Street. Licensee holds a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license and is charged with 1 violation of the board's rules stemming from 1 incident on September the 24th, 2022. That is a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare relating to a violation of the Memorandum of Understanding with the community, restriction on the license, and Chief Chris Amalis will be authenticating the report for the staff, Mr. Chair.
Okay, would all the fact witnesses please raise your right hands?
Would anyone who's going to testify today, do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give, the statements made and responses given will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Are you counsel for the licensee?
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Rozakos with Rosenberg Martin Greenberg, counsel for the licensee.
Can you spell your last name, please?
R as in Robert, Izakos.
All right, Mr. Oh, yes.
Good morning, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association. There are some residents who would like to make brief testimony after the case in chief, so I'll ask them to remain comfortably seated. And unless you want them to stand and be sworn at this time.
Not, we can hold off.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Rozakos, is this going to be an admission or denial?
This is going to be a denial, Your Honor. And with me today for the record is the licensee, Ms. Juliana McGuire, and Mr. Troy Fenwick, the manager of the night of the incident.
Okay. Chief?
Good morning. On September 24, 2022, at approximately 1:42, Inspector Robinson responded to a 311 complaint 22-00766525 in regards to loud music coming from the establishment. When he arrived, he heard a DJ announcing last call. The noise was deemed to be an acceptable level. When he entered the establishment, he spoke to the manager about the complaint. Afterwards, after reviewing the liquor license, he noticed that there was an MOU stated on the liquor license. The manager did not have a copy of the MOU for the inspector to review. He called me. I had advised him to write down all the information that he needed and to come back and investigate the following day with administrative staff. After investigating with administrative staff, it was deemed that the establishment was bound by an MOU that had a restriction that they had to close at 1 a.m. if there was not a sporting event. The sporting event there was no sporting event in progress at the time that he responded.
Okay.
Can I just get your name, because I didn't get it on the record?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Last name is CHRISSOMA, 2 L's, IS.
Do you have questions for the inspector?
Briefly, Your Honor. Inspector Chris O'Malley, were you there the night of the incident?
I was not.
Okay. So because you were not there the night of the incident, did you not observe any sports being televised on the TVs inside Sangria?
I was not there, sir.
Okay. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to present testimony?
Yes, briefly. Mr. Fenwick, you've already been sworn in. Mr. Fenwick.
Please make sure to move the microphone so that he can answer.
Thank you. Mr. Fenwick, you are a current employee of Sangria, correct?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been an employee there?
Going on around about 5 years now.
Okay. And were you there the night of this incident?
Yes, sir.
And did you speak with Inspector Robinson on the night of the incident?
Yes.
Was it a pleasant conversation?
Very pleasant. I ain't have no problems.
Can you explain the substance of that conversation to the commission?
He just pretty much came in and told me that he had a noise complaint on us and we pretty much had to make sure that he said that he observed a good level of volume from us, so he didn't want to write us up. Like, he didn't write us up or anything, and then he left. That was the complaint. He came and served the complaint, and he had just got me to sign off on that. He was there, and that was it.
Did he explain to you that there was a memorandum of understanding that required you to be closed at 1?
I had no knowledge of a MOU or anything like that.
Well, you may not have knowledge of it, but the licensee did, so you were never told.
No, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did Inspector Robinson mention anything about a memorandum of understanding to you the night he spoke with you?
Not on September the 24th. He didn't tell me anything like that.
Did Inspector Robinson ask you if any sporting events were on the televisions inside Sangria when he spoke with you the night of the incident?
No, once again, he was only there for the noise complaint. He didn't mention anything like that to me.
Okay. Mr. Fenwick, is it fair to say that you're aware restaurants and bars need to have a liquor license in order to sell alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Also fair to say that you know restaurants and bars need to comply with what's on the liquor license so that they're not in violation of the liquor license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Fenwick, did Inspector Robinson mention anything about you having to be closed by 1 a.m. the night of the incident?
Not on September the 24th, sir, no.
Okay. And Mr. Fenwick, can you explain briefly just the procedure for closing down Sangria at night? Is it common that you turn the TVs off when the DJ announces last call?
Yes, so the TV that he will be observing be off will be the front TV. I always cut that off first because I shut down the front because we usually exit through the back. So I will always shut down the front and signal for last call, and that's how we work our people to the back because they exit out to the back.
Is it possible that on the night of this incident, strike that, Mr. Fenwick, if you were aware that there was this memorandum of understanding in place prohibiting Sangria from staying open past 1 a.m. on the night of this incident, would you have allowed Sangria to stay open past 1 a.m.?
No, because it'll be me that they will come and say something to. So I'll be the person that deals with that. So I will definitely be closed at 1.
And you understand going forward that unless there is some sporting event pursuant to the memorandum of understanding, that Sangria cannot stay open past 1 a.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Has Inspector Robinson been to Sangria before for a noise complaint?
I mean, I have seen him a couple times before, but like I said, it's always been a good conversation between me and him. Like, I never had, like, a bad convo. I always complied with anything they told me, and that was it.
Were you cooperative with Inspector Robinson on the night of this incident?
Yes, even though it was nothing to be cooperative on, because he was, like he said, we wasn't in violation of the noise complaint. He said the noise was at a good level and we were okay. He actually pretty much stayed there for a little bit and then he left. Like, he didn't say nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Fenwick. No other questions.
Could I just get him to state his name for the record?
My name is Troy Fenwick, sir.
Troy Fenwick, thank you.
Did you have more witnesses? Or
That's it, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to be heard?
Yes, thank you. Your Honor, we're not here today to challenge the MOU. We're not here to challenge its authority. What I have concerns with today are what's written in Inspector Robinson's report. Inspector Robinson is not here today to testify as to what he spoke to Mr. Fenwick about. The only testimony that was offered to you today is what Mr. Fenwick said. What I have
We
concerned
also have his report.
We have his report. What I have concerns about specifically with respect to his report is the timing in which he learned of what was contained in the MOU. If you take a look at the report, he writes that afterwards, I took a look at the liquor license. Whether he took a look at the liquor license inside Sangria or afterwards, I don't know. I can proffer to you that I've spoke to Mr. Fenwick on many occasions about this, and that Inspector Robinson walked in, had a pleasant...
Ask you a question, counsel. What's the legal significance of whether they were in violation and were charged that day or the next day?
There's the legal significance is that Inspector Robinson did not go in knowing what was contained in the MOU. If he did not go in knowing what was contained in the MOU, how did he know to look at the TVs to see if there were any sporting events on? I have a problem with Inspector Robinson's, from here, I mean, I don't have the opportunity to ask him questions, but what I have concerns about is his memory. And I can't tell you what I ate for breakfast this morning. I don't know if Inspector Robinson the next day thought, oh, okay, I read the MOU. It says that there can't be any sports on TV. I don't remember there being sports on TV.
So your contention is that there was a sporting event and they had turned it off?
That's correct. And I did not ask Mr. Fenwick these questions, but I've spoken to Mr. Fenwick in the past, and he can testify that there were sporting events on at the time of this incident. Sangria is a bar that has sporting events on all the time. They have all the sports packages. I can put Mr. Fenwick back on for further testimony, but my contention is that they're not able to establish that there were not sporting events on at the time of this incident.
Well, I think they established that there weren't when he was there, but whether there was earlier in the evening, we don't know. Okay.
It's the time frame that I'm concerned about, is whether or not we don't have testimony to suggest that Inspector Robinson walked in. There's absolutely no testimony before you that suggests that Inspector Robinson walked in and there were no sporting events on at the time of the incident. We can only rely
I think
on...
that's what his report says.
We can only rely on the report.
We're
I'm not
entitled
here
to, though, as you know, under
Correct.
our rules.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Yes. You're the general manager, correct? With the burden on the inspectors, whether they knew it was an MOU or not, the owner is Miss McGuire, who's here today. Did she ever explain to you as a manager that there was an MOU in regards to the hours that should be open and closed?
So I never had to get explained to you about an MOU, because we usually close anytime that, like, pretty much when the customers are pretty much like not at the bar. So a lot of times that's around one something anyway. Like, we really don't even never stay open to 2 o'clock technically or anything like that. So I never had to be explained about an MOU or anything like that my whole time working.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Fogelman, where are you?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Before you get started, I just wanted to indicate for the record, we have letters from the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, letters in support from the Midtown Baltimore Community Benefits District, Johns Hopkins, Peabody, various emails and other correspondence that's all in the record in support of the idea that this licensee is bound by the memorandum of understanding and ought to comply with it. And as you know, unless the licensee agrees to be bound and make it the terms part of its license, we don't have the authority to deal to be a breach of contract issue. So with that in mind, so that you don't burden us with lots and lots of cumulative testimony, what do you have to present?
Thank you. Very focused, precise, brief testimony from 4 stakeholders.
Okay, let's do it quickly. Can we get them up here and raise their right hands, please?
I'm going to swear you all in and then just state your name before your testimony, please, for the record. Does anyone who's going to testify now solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give, the statements made and responses given will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor, briefly, I'm just going to object generally to the testimony only because you haven't found yet that there's been a finding of a violation of the memorandum. So.
I just wanted, I assume they're here to testify about this violation because it's the only issue before us.
And I just want to limit the testimony to what we're here.
That's all we're here about. So,
Your Honor, I do believe at least one of the stakeholders has some video of that night. That having been said,
If it goes to the issue before us, we'll hear it, yeah.
okay, and I'm just to proffer or prelude that testimony, it would be testimony regarding that night. There would also be testimony regarding subsequent closures after 1 a.m. And then there would be testimony.
They haven't been charged with any of that.
There would be testimony about violent acts between 1
Not charged with any of that.
Okay.
That you have explained to them, I'm sure, that if they want to protest the renewal of this license, they can do it. But today we're here on a single violation. That's all we're going to hear.
All right, and we'd be happy to, their concerns would be happy to be heard after a finding has been made, briefly.
Okay, I don't know what makes all much difference. Commissioners have any objection?
I have no objection.
Okay, I'll make a finding. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received, and the proffers from counsel and the evidence before the commission, I find, first of all, that the licensee had entered into a memorandum of understanding with the community, which called for it to reduce its closing hour to 1 a.m. on the event on an evening when there is no sporting event. They've been charged with violating that provision. I think based on the report of Inspector Robinson, we have sufficient evidence to establish that they did violate Rule 3.12 General Welfare on September 24, 2022. So I find that there was a violation. Commissioner?
How much?
I'm waiting to hear before I impose a sanction.
Based upon the charging document, the testimony received, the proffers, I too find a violation of Rule 3.12 on September 24, 2022. Like the chairman, I find that the licensee signed and is bound by the terms of the MOU, and as a result, find the violation.
Yes. Also, based on testimony and materials provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 3.12, general welfare on September 24th, 2022, and along with the violation of the MOU.
And I just say for the sake of the folks whose testimony I'm limiting to this event, we have before us a record. So this licensee has held it since 2017, and they've been found in violation in 2019, and in 2021. We're very well aware of that. So go ahead.
Thank you. Jack? Sure. Please state your full name, Jack Hanna.
Sure. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Jack Dana, President of the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association since 2022.
Please spell your last name.
Sure. D-A-N-N-A.
Thank you.
And please be sure to get close to the microphone.
Sure. Sure. Sorry about that. Is that better?
And we have your letter, but go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for the opportunity to be concise in providing a 1-minute testimony. After receiving several complaints prior to the September reporting on the 22nd, I went over on that early morning Saturday to see if Sangria was open, and it was approximately 1 o'clock. Took the video, which I have on my phone, I can share with you guys, that shows the establishment was open with music and no sense of winding down.
You realize we've already found an
Okay,
violation
okay,
for
just,
that,
okay.
so we accepted that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chairman. And then went home and made the call to the Liquor Board 311 call and had a conversation with the inspector at about 1:42. So we are grateful for finding them in violation. It's not something that's happened once. It's something that's happened on many occasions. Thank you.
Please state your name again. We're on television and on the record, so we have to clarify for our reporter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Paula Jane Fernandez, Fernandes. I'm a resident and owner of a defense contracting business. My building backs on to the block behind Sangria. I've lived in Baltimore City, mostly in Mount Vernon, for about 22 years. And I haven't previously had a reason to attend a hearing like this. I wanted to come here to discuss the fact that Sangria management appear to violate this 1 a.m. rule pretty much every weekend and have done so since opening. In addition to what Jack said, I have 3 pieces of video footage. The first is from September 18th at 1:04 in the morning. This video footage is from my security camera that shows patrons coming out of the rear door after a shooting. I have more video footage from December 3rd at 1:45 a.m. This footage from my security video camera shows patrons coming out of the rear door after a shooting. I also have video showing Baltimore Police Department interviewing club patrons as they tried to leave the parking lot. This was at 1:45 a.m. Since this hearing was called, I have some more video footage. This was taken on December 10th, and this footage clearly shows patrons coming out of the rear door of Sangria again after 1 a.m. I just wish to add that in addition to the late night closing of this operation, we have had to suffer noise, violence, sanitation issues, defecation, urination behind our house and our businesses. Broken glass, trash. It's absolutely disgusting out there. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
You understand, of course,
Yeah.
that your memorandum of understanding says that they're only limited to 1 a.m. when there's no sporting event. So I don't have any evidence of what was going on those dates.
I know I'd like to see if there was a sporting event every
I don't
Saturday,
know
Friday, Sunday night.
It probably is, but I don't know whether they're showing it, so okay.
Right.
But I don't know the answer because we don't have those facts in front of us. But I hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
Good morning,
morning.
Commissioner, Chairman. Curtis Decker, DECKER. I am a resident of 8 West Reed for 48 years. My building is a multifamily building on the corner of Morton Alley and Reed Street. Morton Alley is a very busy thoroughfare. There are many businesses that front Charles Street and back onto Morton Alley. We're used to lots of delivery trucks, lots of waste management. It's part of city living. We come to accept that. But the violation of the MOU by Sangria has really taken it to a whole nother level. As you've heard from Dr. Fernandez, there's a whole series of violations. It's constant. On that particular night, that was certainly one of them. And what I don't understand is almost all the businesses on Charles Street use the Charles Street entrance and then back out onto the alley. For some reason, this organization uses the Morton Street entrance or back door as their main egress, and as a result, all of the patrons pile out in that particular event and other nights, causing all of the problems you've heard. So thank you, and thank you for finding the violation.
Yeah. Mr. Decker and I have known one another for 50 years.
Many years.
So it's a pleasure to see you. But, there will be an opportunity later in this year for a greater protest of licenses. So
We will definitely attend that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who else? Okay. Okay. Do you want to be heard?
Brief mitigation, Your Honor.
Sure.
This is, well, you haven't heard any testimony today that any employee, the licensee of Sangria, have not been compliant in cooperating with the Mount Vernon
We've
Beverage
never
Association.
charged them with lack of cooperation, so I'm going to assume that they've dealt with our people.
Right. What I will say, Your Honor, is that they've previously welcomed and continue to welcome any communication. This is clearly a breakdown in communication based on this memorandum of understanding. This is the first violation, and I'll be brief. This is the first violation of the memorandum of understanding. There was the violations that you read earlier, I believe. One was for grease trap in 2017, and then the last violation in 2019 was for being over capacity during COVID. But this is an establishment, like that I said earlier. They sell small plates. They're food-based. People go there to eat food, watch sports games.
Honestly, it sounds like things have broken down between the establishment and the community. And it sounds like that they would benefit from sitting down with the community representatives and trying to work these difficulties out. And in fact, if you need help from our liaison person, I'd be happy to assist with that. But
Appreciate that, Aaron.
if you want to avoid a lengthy protest of renewal, you ought to sit down with these folks and try to work out your difficulties and have better communication.
I think I 100% agree. I think what also might be beneficial here too is reading through the memorandum of understanding. It does not define what a special sporting event is. I think that maybe going forward, having a definition for a special sporting event, I think there may have been a
It would also help if you told your manager about it.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. But I think having a definition of what a special sporting event is could be helpful to preventing this from happening.
But seriously, I mean, they're all adults. They should sit down and try to work something out because it's going to fester and cause more and more problems. Commissioners?
No questions.
No, I just would echo what the chairman is saying. This is more than a breakdown of communication. This is going to become a real problem for your client because, there is a time for a protest or renewal, and so we strongly encourage both sides to sit down and start ironing it out. If you have concerns about the MOU and definitions, Counselor, then I suspect they would love to reopen the MOU and have discussions about the MOU. So I would, really sit down in good faith and attempt to work these issues out because this is an organized and savvy community association. We like all community associations, but this appears to be one that's very organized, and we don't want you to come back on a protest or renewal. We don't like the tension, so we encourage you to work it out, but and hope not to see your client on this side of the docket.
Did you have anything to add? I'm going to impose the sanction. Okay. So on the having found the violation, I'm going to impose a fine of $500. I'll give you 30 days to pay it, Commissioners.
I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Yes, I also concur with the chair on the fine of $500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Russell?
Board Exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Inspector Robinson. Board Exhibit 2, Board Decision dated 1/19/2017. 3, MOU between licensees and Mount Vernon Belvedere Association. 4, Court Appeal filed 11/13/1996. 5, Service Request Summary Report. Exhibits of opposition. 1, Letter of Opposition from Mount Vernon Belvedere Association. 2, Letter of Opposition from Midtown Baltimore. 3, Letter of Opposition from Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. And 4, 17 emails of opposition from community.
So you both have good lawyers. Use them. Okay? Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee can receive instructions from employee at the rear on how to pay the fine imposed by the board today and any attendant fees that go along with that fine. Shall we move forward,
Please.
Mr. Chair? Have Hopkins Market LLC come to agreement, or no? And then moving on to item number 2 on the docket is New Ecstasy Bar and Restaurant LLC, trading as My Cousin's Place. Premises are located at 3925 to 27 East Lombard Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street. This is a application to transfer. They're the same licensees that were on the current license. They had problems with, had two fires at this established. One was in one area, and the other was the people who were actually repairing the place. So they had to form another corporation and have the license transferred. We have, and I think you may have in your file, a Hollandtown Community Association MOU.
Mr. Kadensky, sorry to interrupt. Could you mind just moving the microphone a little closer to you? The
me?
people at home can't hear you. Thank you.
First time in my life. Tell my wife. On this, and we met 2 or 3 times. And I must say they were very nice to deal with. The Hollandtown Community Association were very nice to deal with. And we actually met with them in the church, which I thought was nice too. And if you have the MOU, we'd asked, and you agreed to this MOU, is that correct? And this is Ms. Blanca Pasquera, who's the licensee, and the other licensee here, so they had entered into that. And the terms and conditions are as set out with regard to security in the kitchen. And they were, actually, we met the second time at the location at the bar and restaurant, and they were very impressed with the work that was done there. People who would work there would be alcohol certified. They're about 2 months away from finishing everything up there. So I'll have to give you a copy of it.
We have it.
Okay.
So, your name, ma'am?
Come a little closer.
And would you raise your right hand, please?
Raise your hand.
Ma'am, do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give, the statements made, and responses given will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And just please state your name before your testimony.
Yes.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Blanca.
Yeah, you're Ms. Pesquera?
Yes.
Okay, do you have that name?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you, you have entered into this memorandum of understanding with the Highlandtown Community Association. Are you willing to have its terms be made part of your license?
Yes.
Okay.
Sí.
Yeah, okay. See.
That's
Gotcha. So, okay, did you have anything else, Mr. Kadensky?
No, this is, they've basically been the last 5 years.
You're just changing corporations.
Yeah, we have to keep the license on.
Commissioners have questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the memorandum of understanding documents that have been presented to us today, which will be received, testimony received and proffer from council, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment, outdoor table service, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based upon the application, the proffer, and the MOU, I too would approve this application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service with the delivery of alcoholic beverages. The MOU, as the applicant has agreed to, will be attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law.
I meant to say that as well, yes. Commissioner?
Yes, based on testimony and materials provided today, and with the MOU being part of the license, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service, and also the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Ms. Russell?
On call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of opposition from Highlandtown Community Association dated 7/8/22. Number 2, MOU between applicants and Highlandtown Community Association dated 10/11/22.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants will receive follow-up instructions from colleague at the rear of the room on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today. It's my understanding that item number 1 is ripe for hearing, Mr. Chairman,
All
so
right, let's
shall I
call
call it? Going backwards, calling item number 1 on the regular items, Hopkins Market LLC trading as Hopkins Market. Proposed premises are located at 110 West 39th Street. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1603C1 II, requiring $200,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities and a seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people, and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Morning.
Good morning, Commission. Abraham Hurd on behalf of Hopkins Market LLC. With me is Ms. Soon Park, one of the prospective licensees. Mr. Gelblum, who is sick today, some sort of COVID potential symptoms, so he is unable to attend.
Okay.
Can I just get the spelling of your last name? I'm sorry.
My name?
The last name.
Hurdle.
All right, Mr. Hurdle, where are we with this?
I believe that we've come to an agreement on the issues of substance with regards to the MOU. I do have a draft. I think Mr. Fogelman and I have gone back and forth on several different drafts. The most recent kind of huge concern between the community and the prospective licensee was the hours, which we've come to the agreement on that. There's a little bit of language that we need to work out, which we're happy to continue on with regards to how we're going to do our best. How we kind of firm up language for getting the distributors to kind of honor the hours that the neighborhood would like, which is a challenge.
I understand the lawyers may want to work on the language, but can you tell us what the pertinent
the important part seems
terms
to be
are?
the hours. The hours are going to be, and I do, there may be areas where I may have a little confusion because I think we discussed a lot of something and maybe less of others. The location will be permitted to open at 6 a.m. till midnight every day. They will not do alcohol sales until 9 a.m. The packaged goods will cease at 11 Sunday through Thursday, and on Friday and Saturday at midnight, but they will be allowed to do on-premises sales from that 9 a.m. to midnight every day. There's numerous other factors in the MOU with regards to working with the community, communication with the community, and other things that we're in agreement. Again, the one language you to stiffen up is the distributor stuff.
And your client is willing to have the terms of the memorandum of understanding be made part of her license?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you have anything to present?
No, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Tuscany Canterbury Neighborhood Association. Just want to thank all the stakeholders here for entering into an MOU. Thank
I
you.
received an email. I'm a member of that association. And last night I received an email telling me to email myself promptly. So
I did want to mention
appreciate
that
it.
just very briefly on the record that, and I'm glad we have an agreement here with the community. I do think that anyone reaching out to commissioners directly is frankly highly inappropriate.
Well, that's all right. I understand it's part of the job. I didn't take it personally, but I was slightly amused, also a little concerned. But it actually put me on notice that I thought it would be useful to have you all try to iron it out. It sounded like you were pretty close. So
We are. Thank you.
okay. Commissioners have any questions? No questions.
Ms. Hager, any?
For the record, Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin Graberg. I'm here on behalf of the landlord in support of the tenant's application.
Okay, nothing further.
Okay. Councilwoman, do you want to say anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and board members. I just want to thank everybody, neighbors, the applicant, for negotiating in good faith, and the community looks forward to this moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Lucienne Parsley for Tuscany Canterbury Neighborhood Association. I'm the chair of the market committee, and we're happy to be working with Hopkins Market, and we think this will be a good resolution to our concerns. Thank you.
Okay, good. I hope it works out.
And I just want to note the presence of former Council President Mary Pat Clark in the audience this morning, joining former Vice President Edward Reisinger. Always a pleasure.
We're surrounded by council people.
And Mr. Chairman, just to be, so make sure we do our legal duties, there are still some statutory elements that we have to take testimony and be proved on, just
Okay.
so the board's aware.
Do you want to make
Absolutely.
a proffer on that?
Yes.
It's not, Mr. Blendy, it's not often that we get such good news. Clouds the whole purpose we're here. So let's marinate in this for a little bit.
Just wanted to make certain that the board, didn't get lost in the love.
To very briefly proffer, this location is at 110 West 39th Street. This is a location of a former grocery and restaurant location. Instead of doing a transfer, there were any number of issues with the previous tenant. We decided to apply for a new license in this situation. This will be a small market, again, and restaurant. They anticipate having a balance of food close to 70 to 30. That's our target. We do understand that the rule is 50-50, and that's certainly part of the agreement that we've discussed with the community. We do anticipate on-premises sales. All people who are handling alcohol at the location will be alcohol awareness certified. The licensees are familiar with the rules and regulations. Miss Park has been a licensee in the city and elsewhere on several occasions and never had a violation. One of the partners who is here, who isn't a licensee but is a member, Mr. Ibrahim, who is in the audience here, Mr. Ibrahim has a different deli and grocery in the city where he's got 25 years of experience. He's looking forward to having a new location. Their build out will take about $300,000. That's their low end. As we all know, that tends to kind of get a little higher as things go along, but that they're anticipating at least a $300,000 build out. And I believe they have about 82 seats, I think was the last time I calculated the seating inside, meeting the requirements for a new liquor license.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Any issues at Super Liquors?
No.
It was held, I assume, yeah, it's Miss Park, right?
Yes.
Was held in Catonsville from 2001 to 2009?
Yes.
No issues there?
No.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the testimony received, proffers from counsel, and based on the fact that you've entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Tuscany Canterbury Neighborhood Association, the terms of that agreement to be made a part of your license to the event to the extent they are enforceable by law. I vote to approve this application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, restaurant license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based upon the application, the testimony, I too approve this new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license application with delivery of alcoholic beverages. The MOU has been agreed to and will be attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Yes, based on the testimony and materials provided today, also with the MOU being part of the license, I also vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Ms. Russell?
Medical exhibits for the record, 52 emails of opposition from community.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in my neighborhood.
Thank you, Commissioners. May be excused.
Please.
That concludes this matter before the board. Counsel for applicant can receive follow-up instructions at the rear on how to, what documentation is legally required to complete the issuance of this new license that the board preliminarily approved today. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 3 on today's docket, Alex Joanna LLC, trading as Yesteryear's Liquors. Premises are located at 212 to 14 North Highland Avenue. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you, Stephen W. Fogelman, on behalf of the applicant here, Benu Pokaral. Herman Butler is a city resident who served previously in that regard. He is not here today. Okay, so, yeah, I don't have that, they don't have that today, but we can get that. Okay, now, there was just a question as to whether off-premises delivery was included in this request.
Apparently, it's
It
not
does
in the application.
Right, does not appear to be so. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Pokaral, Binu Pokaral, to my right here is the applicant. Her husband, Mr. Pokaral, is here with her. They are both managing this establishment currently, and it is a small to mid-sized liquor store at 212 North Highland Avenue that's been an ongoing concern for years. They are near a bus stop. They have regular customers who they see every day. They have instituted a 100% ID check. They are both, like I say, alcohol management certified. I've been in the store. It's, like I say, it's regulars. It's a pretty friendly outfit and operation where you know so many people that you don't have to card everybody because they do stop by every day before they go home.
Are they certified?
They sure are. I have their alcohol management certificates right here, and I've explained to them the gravity of compliance with these rules and regulations of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners.
Yeah. And this operation had some problems about 15 years ago, but nothing since. So
Right.
Let's hope that it goes well.
No, they're I've seen them in there, and they manage a pretty tight ship.
Commissioners?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Based upon the application, the proffer, I too will approve this application to transfer ownership.
Yes, based on testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants and council can receive instructions from employee of the board at the rear on how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved this morning, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Moving forward, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Item number 4 on the regular items is Risky Biscuits LLC, trading as Bunnies. Premises are located at 801 to 03 South Ann Street. This is an amended application to transfer ownership from a contract purchaser, a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continuation of outdoor table service, requesting off-premises catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, and to expand the licensed premises to include the second floor as a restaurant and kitchen and the third floor for storage.
Again.
Thank you, Stephen W. Fogelman, on behalf of the applicant.
Mr. Fogelman, have we heard this before?
We have. This is an amended application. This is for the premises formerly known as the Wharf Rat. So the building, over 200 years old, had some massive, BG&E basically had to put some massive infrastructure into the building, into the block, to bring it up to code. And that costs months and months of delay. They've spent over $500,000 renovating so far, in addition to the cost of the building. Ms. Ackman is the spouse of the current contract purchaser of this license, and Mr. Ackman is already alcohol management certified, and she will be alcohol management certified as well. Both Mr. and Mrs. Ackman live short walking distance to the establishment and will manage it very closely with excellent administration. As you can see, Mrs. Ackman has worked at Cigna for the last 11 years and will be on premises almost every day at this establishment.
And they're certified?
They are.
Okay.
all of their servers will be as well.
And the reason for the amendment was?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, we have, if you look at the docket, we have expansion. We want to make sure that they're going to put in more kitchen space in the second floor and add some event space as well. Additionally, they want to keep the outdoor table service. I don't know if the license previously had off-premises catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, but there were delays, and we realized we needed to have Ms. Ackman come on as the licensee.
Okay.
They're expecting to be open in January.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the amended application, the proffer from council, I vote to approve this amended application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service, off-premises catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, and with an expansion of the licensed premises to include the second floor as a restaurant and kitchen and the third floor for storage.
Based upon what's contained in the amended application, the proffer from council, I too would approve this amended application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, and to expand licensed premises to include second floor as a restaurant and kitchen and third floor for storage.
Yes, based on testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and also the request off-premise catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, and to expand licensed premise to include second floor as a restaurant and kitchen and third floor for storage.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, and good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant can receive follow-up instructions at the rear of the room from staff on how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearings. Moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Item number 5, Jamaru LLC, trading as Abbey Burger, Mount Washington. The premises are located at 1604 Kelly Avenue. This is an application to transfer ownership, requesting off-premises catering of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Yes, good morning still. Good morning, Stephen W. Fogelman, on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Miller.
Another applicant I've known for 50 years.
And he's a
Although
young
I've
guy.
known him since he was an infant.
There you go. So yeah, Harry Russell Miller IV. The license. So this is a case based on a law change because we couldn't have Mr. Miller on this license a few years ago because you needed to have 150 plus seats. You needed to have that $500,000 capital investment. I'm not sure if that law only applies to a new license or a transfer, but nevertheless, Mr. Stansfield, current licensee, wants to be removed from the license. Mr. Miller, as you probably know, is a licensee at the Abbey Burger Bistro on Marshall Street, a Class B. The 811 South Broadway, Fells Point, Abbey Burger Bistro. He's also an officer and now applicant for Jamaru LLC, which is the Kelly Avenue location. And then he's also the licensee and corporate officer for Ziller LLC, otherwise known as Abbey Burger Havre de Grace. So he is already on 3 licenses, 3 Bs. All of these licenses are reputable business operators. All of these LLCs, including the Instant LLC here, are in good standing. So
violations.
And they had one. I mean, you have 4 restaurants. It's possible. There was one COVID violation, an early COVID violation a couple of years ago regarding a business meeting, or was it not? But that was about it. There also was one underage sale early on at Abbey in Havre de Grace, but that problem was resolved. So
The people up there just look a little bit younger.
Good living, yeah. So I don't know. I did not have time to research the law, whether a transfer requires that law is triggered by a transfer, a new license, but either way, I want to show the board that he would be covered and ask that he be allowed to keep the current amount of seating there as well. I don't think capital investment ever comes into play on a transfer, but yeah. So just so you have
You
it.
want me to answer? Or?
Go ahead, Mr. Bundy.
Oh, yeah, council's right. The transfer is exempt from the way that the law is written.
Okay, so yeah, but like I say, he is, he's a good business operator. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners?
But do we have to find that he's a reputable business operate.
Only for a newbie in the way it's written. But the law is specific that they cannot hold more than 5 Class Bs, but this would be number 4, as I understand it. So that is the one that applies for a transfer.
Thank you, Mr. Moon.
Curiously written.
Mr. Chair, just out of curiosity, from being from South Baltimore, how long has Abby Berger been at Marshall Street?
Yeah, I could almost date this because I remember we had an operator in that location when I first came on the liquor board, and he was at war with the neighborhood association, and then one day everything was fine. So I want to say 2008. So shake your head if I'm right. Yeah, 2008, and these guys were a salve on a wound down there on Marshall Street, and they've operated well in conjunction with the love of the community since. So they just celebrated their in fact, they just had their 14th anniversary party, and I was there. So yeah, sorry, I should have known that.
Further?
I'm good.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, and any testimony received, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premises catering.
Based upon the application, the proffer from council, I too would approve this application to transfer ownership with off-premise catering.
Yes, based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership and the request for off-premise catering.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Miller.
Thank you. Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant can receive instructions from employee at the rear at how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Item number 6 on today's docket, Mike's Jim Dandies LLC, trading as Mike's Jim Dandies. Premises are located at 4810 Curtis Avenue, and this is an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant, Michael H. Nolan.
A proffer for us?
Yeah, this is a small neighborhood bar in Curtis Bay. Mr. Nolan is he's at the right place at the right time. He's worked for the Department of Homeland Security, and he's been a customer in the bar, fell in love with the bar. The bar in the neighborhood, it's reasonably priced compared to some of our other districts, and just decided that he would make a great owner of this establishment. He's worked at the U.S. Coast Guard Yard in Curtis Bay, right on Curtis Creek, very close to this establishment. Doesn't have any dramatic or any real alcohol management experience. He's in the process of being certified. He's got an appointment to be certified. He'll make sure, and he will be a hands-on operator. He will be in there every day. It's a challenge to run a bar in a place like Curtis Bay, so he knows what he's up for, and I made sure to ask him that the day he walked in my door. You have to run a tight ship down there, and I think he's fully.
He's going to have other people working with him?
Everyone, yes. 2. How many?
3.
He's going to have 3. Full-time and
full-time, 2 part-time.
Make sure that you know that you can trust them. Okay.
He'll be happy to raise his right hand if you need him.
That's all right right now. The commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Fogelman?
No, thank you.
All right, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, and any testimony received, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application and the proffer, I too would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership.
Yes, based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Mr. Nolan, good luck to you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant can receive follow-up instructions from our colleague at the rear on how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Item number 7 on the regular docket, Tony's Pizza LLC, trading as The Dive. Premises are located at 3123 Elliott Street. This is an application to transfer ownership requesting off-premises catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you, Stephen W. Fogelman, on behalf of applicant Peter Henney.
Yeah, do you want to proffer first?
I sure do. This is, we're excited down in Canton about this establishment opening up. You probably heard and read about Sally O's in Highlandtown. Peter is sort of he's the GM at Sally O's. He's a good chef and a good server and a manager of various places, including a place called Clada, but not here in Baltimore, in Highlands, New Jersey. He worked for the predecessor of the Sally O's restaurant, which was called the Laughing Pint from 2018 to 15. He also worked at the Outpost up north here in, down in Riverside from 2018 to 20. So he's got quite a bit of experience locally in the hospitality industry. The Dive was formerly called Cuisine. I believe it was Jack's Bistro prior to that, kind of a smaller place on the corner. They now call it The Dive. They've got great pub grub, fun food, fun cocktails. It's sort of like a dive bar, but on purpose instead of organically. So, but it's been received well in Canton, and you should have a letter from Doug Kaufman, Canton Community Association Economic Development Committee Chairman, regarding the support for the project.
Excuse me a second.
Sure. And Mr. Ennie is alcohol management certified. His servers will be as well.
Great. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Based upon the application and the proffer, I would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership with off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you, Commissioner. I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class D beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, based on the testimony materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership and the request for off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Ms. Russell?
I declare exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, menu. Board Exhibit 2, email support from Canton Community Association dated 12/14/22.
Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Ennie.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant can receive instructions from our colleague at the rear on how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's approval. Moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Item number 8 on today's docket, Orion LLC, trading as Orion's Pub. Premises are located at 53 to 55 South Crescent Street. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Stephen W. Fogel on behalf of the applicants.
You're having a
This is
good day
also,
today.
yes, I guess so. I'm glad it's the last one of the year. So this is a retread day as well, because these applicants have appeared before you before. They simply ran out of time on their transfer. The license was still active under management agreement, so there's no harm there. However, they are here once again to finish, to complete a transfer. There was a hang-up at the 269th day last time regarding a tax issue that's been resolved. Tax issues have been particularly difficult pre-COVID. You just run down there with money and they would take it and give you a receipt. Now you have to make an appointment with SDAT in order to even give them a check. So anyway, hopefully we're getting...
New comptroller.
Hopefully so. That's right. That's right. So this is a bar. This has been an ongoing concern. It serves the Highlandtown community. It's mostly New American crowd. They have been in business. They look forward to finally getting this name in their license so they don't have to ask the other guy to file the renewal application in March. So they're hoping to have this transfer completed in 30 days. They also have been previously alcohol management certified. They both spend a lot of time at this establishment.
There was a violation there a couple of years ago on hours, and I hope.
Right. And I don't believe they owned it then, but I believe that Danny Lopez was on the license as a city resident at that time before they bought the place.
Okay. They need to be vigilant. All right, Commissioners?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application and the proffer from council, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Based upon the application and the proffer, I too would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership.
Yes, based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I have one more after the next case.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants can receive correspondence from our colleague in the rear with instructions on how to legally complete this transfer, which, as I know by law, must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, let's do
As previously stated, item number 9 on today's docket has been postponed. Item number 10 on today's docket has been postponed. Moving to item number 11 on today's regular docket, HVS Hospitality LLC, trading as Canton Local, 801 to 03 South Decker Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
One more time.
Yes, thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants here. We have here, to my right, we have, you are Peter.
Yes.
Yeah, you're Peter An Viet Nguyen, and we have Min Luong here. They are, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are guys who are like best friends who met in pharmacy school at the University of Maryland, and they went out together and worked at different. They worked together at CVS Pharmacy. Then they also went together to work at Sam's Club Pharmacy, and then at some point they said, "Let's buy a pharmacy and do that as a partnership." So they've owned the pharmacy at Belvedere Square on East Belvedere Avenue for some time now. And they decided that they wanted.
That's where I got my booster shot.
There you go. So anyway, they said, "Hey, we work well together." So they have made arrangements to buy the real estate and the liquor license and the business at 801 South Decker, not far from my house. I call it almost northern Canton. It currently is called the Canton Local, and it serves everything from seafood to shepherd's pie, lots of craft selections. It's a pretty cozy neighborhood establishment with a lot of regulars without a lot of problems. And they met with the Canton Community Association Economic Development Committee on Monday night, and I believe you may have
I have a
correspondence.
letter from Mr. Kaufman in support.
Wonderful. So, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is these guys, they're taking this business seriously. They're both going to be alcohol management certified, as will their servers. And I like to think that they're prescribing even maybe more powerful drugs every day and have a license to do so. So,
Continue to act as pharmacists as well as do this?
yes. And they have managers, et cetera. But, yep.
Okay, commissioners?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application and the proffer from council, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service, delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application and the proffer, I too would approve this application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you.
Thank you
Ms.
all.
Russell?
Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit number 1, email support from Canton Community Association dated 12/14/22.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy holidays.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants are receiving follow-up instructions from our colleague on how to legally complete this transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Item number 12 on today's docket is a 180-day hardship request. Contract purchaser trading as no trade name. Premises are located at 134 to 36 West 25th Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and a request for a 180-day hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-2202.
Mr. Hurdle.
Commissioners, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of all TRD, trading at 134-36 West 25th Street. With me is Andrew Gaddis, the contract purchaser. And there's a member of the, I think he's here individually and not as a community representative, but he is a member of someone, he does live in the community, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Okay. Well,
I'm not
first
sure
of
we
all,
need to have anyone sworn in, but perhaps the board may have questions.
Does he have an opposition?
No, he's in support.
Okay, I didn't know. That's the way you said it.
He's on the good guy
You
side.
acted
It's the
like
key.
you
Gotta keep
didn't
them
know him.
separate,
That's
you
why
know?
I was not sure. So, what's the purpose for the hardship extension?
It's just a closure, 180-day hardship extension. I believe it was filed, and I do apologize. This was a matter that Mr. Kadensky's office and my office was working on together, and for any number of reasons, I think our streams got crossed, and it was originally written as a 90-day transfer extension when it was intended to be, I guess, from a closure, 180 days, asking for another 180 days extension, and I believe that's the situation.
That's accurate.
So we're trying to amend that 90-day request that was previously submitted, asking the board for 180
Do you have
days.
any questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the letter, as you've explained it to us, that Mr. Konecki sent us on December 20, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve this hardship extension for 180 days.
Based upon the letter and the proffer, I too would approve the 180-day hardship extension.
Yes, based on the testimony materials of the letter provided today, I also vote for the request for hardship extension of 180 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Commissioner.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Item number 13 on the regular items is also a hardship request. This is Liquor Mart LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 5900 Reisterstown Road, Unit F. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B.
Once again, Mr. Hurdle?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Liquor Mart LLC. With me is Ms. Prajapati, who is the licensee with the majority interest. Ms. Rafferty is at work. She is a nurse. I think we, when we last discussed that, it was something that came up. This is a transfer hardship. We are, as is so often the case, this close to getting everything figured out. There was a hiccup with the use permit that was originally filed under the previous name of this LLC. At some point, the licensee changed the, I guess, the registered name from Latitude OM to Liquor Mart LLC, all the right way through SDAT. The difficulty we're facing is all the inspections were done under a use permit under Latitude OM, and for a number of reasons, the city is struggling with the change of name, even though it's all above board. And we're trying to get that figured out with both either the zoning department, I guess, or inspections, or the trader's office. Whoever kind of gives in first, we're happy to have it move forward.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hurdle, on the basis then of your letter of November 17, 2022, and your explanation this morning, I vote to approve the request for a transfer hardship extension of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license for 90 days. Commissioners?
It's 90 days, right?
Yes, 90.
Yep. I too would concur with the chairman's finding based upon the November 17, 2022 letter and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle. I would approve this transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Yes, based on the testimony materials, along with the letter from the attorney provided today, I also vote to approve the request for transfer of hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Commissioners.
That
Have a good
concludes
holiday.
this matter before the board. Shall we call the final item, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 14 on the regular items, KOL Project LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 4505 Hartford Road. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
I'm Melvin J. Konecki, 320 North Charles Street, representing Cole Project. Miss Wiley is a little bit under the weather, however. This is a situation where they applied for one use permit, and the same as was indicated by Mr. Hurdle, and they have to amend their use permit and get a different type of use issued to it, and they have to have a zoning hearing on it. That's why they're asking for the 90-day extension.
Okay, so we have your letter. I'm also being handed other letters. Have you seen these?
I haven't seen any of
There's
that.
some neighbors who are in opposition to the license.
The
And then-
license has already been granted.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there's a letter from Main Street, Larville, in support. Commissioners,
Are they current or are they old ones?
They're old ones, actually. One's
Yeah.
June of 2022.
both
Yeah,
June.
June of 2022.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do the commissioners have any questions?
No question.
No question.
All right. Mr. Konecki, on the basis then of your letter of November 21, 2022, requesting the extension and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the letter of November 21st, 2022, and the proffer, I too would grant this transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Yes, based on the testimony and the letter from the attorney and the materials provided today, I also vote to approve the request for transfer of hardship extension of 90 days.
Russell?
No exhibits for the record. Letter of support from Hamilton, Main Street, Laurelville. 2, letter of opposition from Kirk and Deborah Sawyer.
Thank you. I hope your client feels better.
And what do we say upstairs? Fade to black. Have a nice holiday, everybody.
You too. Mr.
That
Bundy?
That concludes this matter before the board. Mr. Chairman, there are no other matters before the board scheduled today.
Shall we adjourn until next year?
I'm happy to read the adjournment, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City shall stand in recess until Thursday, January 12th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. here in City Hall at room 215.
Yeah, I want to, since we're coming to the end of the year, give special thanks to the commissioners and all the staff and everybody at the Liquor Board. Do a tremendous job year long, year in and year out. This is, I think, my 6th year here. So I'm very proud of this organization, and I hope everybody and their families have very happy holidays.
Thank you.
Off the record.